Mahabharata only in Ramayana, and it's not in, modern British life. No, you have to learn to take the essence, saragrahi, to take the essence of things and apply it. So it's mostly a cultural revolution. Like a funny thing. In the 1940s, some Western journalist met Mahatma Gandhi in India and said, "What do you think about Western civilization?" He says, "I think it'd be a good idea." If the West became civilized, I think it'd be a good idea. There's plenty of degradation. Just look at the streets in the summer, come on. You got plenty of stuff, plenty of stuff in London to understand. Conservatism happens. My brother was saying, why do the girls dress so unfairly? It was like he was talking about, westernization, Western life and stuff. Why do they gotta dress so unfairly? Prabhupada liked, traditional things. Oh, a girl looks so attractive when she puts on a sari. Oh, it's so nice. Like Prabhupada. And he gave to his own female disciples saris too and stuff. Out of affection. He gave his own daughters. Like that. So there is a beautiful Vedic cultural type of thing. It's a question of culture. It's a question of understanding. How am I going to offer, in which ways do I offer myself to Lord Krishna? With feminine sweetness. At the same time, we have a relationship with Krishna that goes beyond gender. How are we developing a relationship with that? Sometimes you can't dispel that. There was a I mentioned it before, there's a book by Satyaraj called Vaishnavi, about aspects of different Vaishnavis that were very exalted in society. One of them was Srimati in Vrindavan. She gave up her street Vibhava to become a Sakha. And she literally did so. She became so absorbed in the cowherd boys. She gave up the bodily conception of life, and Balarama accepted her. And she's a Sakha. End of story. And Balarama comes in your heart and tells you that your disciple is beyond the bodily conception of life. You better believe it, because he's in charge. That Rasa. He's the in charge. He's a group leader of that church. Whatever he says, everybody goes, yeah. If he comes in your heart and says, your disciple is beyond the bodily conception of life, you better believe it. Krishnanji Maharaj did so. Wonderful book. Read the book. You'll get different ideas for that. Another books that were really good was Blessed Death by Malati Mataji from Avantur, about 5 Vaishnavis or 5 or 6 Vaishnavis that were really top-line preachers who did the best as mothers, as devotees, and gave up this world, and became really amazing. Or another one called Legacy of Love, about my god sister Ladini. She was astounding. If you need to find out about her, Ananda Tirtha's wife. Ananda Tirtha is a disciple of Prabhu Vishnu Maharaj, stays in Mayapur. His father has a house in Vrindavan. And out of separation from his mother, he married his wife. And his wife, Radha Sundari, is an amazing girl. Punjabi girl from North America, very sweet and very amazing. And she has a child, of course. And they have a child together, like that. But Radha Sundari is amazing. And Radha Sundari became an amazing girl because Ladini, she never forgot Ladini. And Ladini's character really molded Radha Sundari. When she was like a 7-year-old girl, Ladini just hugged her and made her what she was. Literally. And that's what Radha Sundari personally told me. And so you can read that book, The Legacy of Love, and like that. But if you ever get Ananda Tirtha and his wife here, ask Radha Sundari directly. Radha Sundari will probably tell you stories after stories after stories, how Ladini molded her to be what a devotee she is. So and once you become a good devotee, then you can touch other person's hearts in the same way as other person have touched you. So that's what street dharma is, in that sense. It's an establishment of character. Then the character goes further to help others develop that character. Sphere of influence. Sphere of concern increases by your preaching. It's a little difficult. When you're trapped in a man's body, and never got married, never touched a girl's hand in your life, what the hell do I know? You follow me in that sense? When I'm speaking theoretically from the Vedic culture, I'm speaking it. That street dharma means that you have to follow the essence of it and try to accept the cultural revolution, cultural consciousness, and apply it in your heart. To the extent you apply it, to the extent you make advancement. That's the idea. Work it out. Any other questions? Yes, Mom?
I have two small questions. The first one is, I've been reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam for a long, long time. But lately I feel kind of drifting away from that. I'm kind of losing a little interest, and I don't understand why is that. At the same time, I enjoy reading the pastimes of Krishna, so can you shed some light on that? Why is this happening?
What is this? You have to analyze what is distracting you. You have to analyze your life. If you were reading Gita and Bhagavatam more in the past, what was the situation of your life that was giving you facility to read more and relish more? And what is your entanglements now that has taken your mind away from that? And that's all. That's how you have to see it. But I want to give you one other piece of advice. If you have a problem with that, analyzing what that is, you run to Tulsi Rani and she'll help you sort it out. There's nothing like Vishnu's wife to help you sort it out. She's literally, having her is one thing. Taking shelter of her is another. And you actually fall at her feet and take shelter of her and get close to her and reveal your heart to her and chant with her with dependency. Complete day and night change. I had devotees, like, remember, they lost their spiritual master, or they lost something, they had some setback in life, lost their husband, lost their kids. And I said, you just go to her, and you take shelter of her. 6 months later, everything was changed. They said, wow, it's amazing. All you have to do is just take shelter, and immediately everything changes. It's different, it's night and day. It's a game-changing experience. Tulsi's Chaya is a game-changing experience, but many aspects of her care. 50% perspiration and 50% ashray. If you're not ready to work for her, you'll never know who she is. Many people caught him, sure. It's like there's one Patakar in Bombay. He's a Mayavadi, but he's got a few good points. Every human being's got a good point. Comes from Krishna. So he says, Angan mein tulsi ka kunda, fridge mein anda, kaise Hindu hoti hai. I thought, that's cool. I really like that. That is cool. I liked it. They have on their balcony, they're keeping a tulsi, but in their fridges they've got eggs. So what kind of a Hindu is that? Now that is cool. I really like that statement. I thought, that is cool. For religious principles, you may keep a tulsi for public decorum, but you're not actually taking shelter of her. Because your heart is not transformed. See, like that. So, taking shelter is a whole nother world. If you're ready to be a child, she's ready to be your mother. Female child or male child, child does not flinch for his mother. You have to really become determined. This is my mother, and I'm going to serve her, like children do. And if you have that problem, even a little bit, then Tulsi will just grab you, because that's her bhava. She'll first grab you, purify you, give you your husband, and turn everything into Vaikuntha. For the purpose of giving you her husband, Vishnu, she'll definitely do her job to purify you. So this is a doubt you've got. This is a problem you've got. So you reveal your mind to her, you think about it, in her company she'll help you see what is the distractions and how to get around them. If you can't do it this way, you got to do it that way, Or you may have to regulate your distractions. You may have to change the parameters of your distractions. But if you want to do more Hari Katha, there's a will, there's a way. If there's no will, there's no way. Hare Krishna. Or Kya. Anything else? Yes, Mom.
How do you specifically recommend Vaishnavis approaching Tulsi Rani?
How do you recommend Vaishnavis approaching who?
Tulsi Devi.
50% service, 50% perspiration, and 50% ashraya. You have to work for her. They're different things. Just like here, now this temple is going to possibly build another conservatory. They got doubts, you know? They got doubts. They got doubts about that what they've had for her before is not exactly hunky-dory sometimes. But how to do things properly, effectively, and stealthily, you know? There may be many things involved. I was talking with Johnny Tai about it. And I said, but then part of us associating with her is to give her opportunity to associate. Do we want people to run up there? He said sometimes some person, threw himself off the top of a roof or something. You gotta put bars there. Maybe you have to put bars to stop people, nutty people from jumping off the roof. With buildings, tall buildings, finding some nut. I remember my sannyas guru telling stories about some nut in New York, in the 55th Street building, some nut jumped off the crow's 13th floor. You're always going to have some nut doing something, but you should really try to stop it. There are different ways, High-rise buildings, they put bars, security bars, something like that. There's a way, there's a way to get around it. And if it's going to attract people to come and take her shelter, and a building like this, you want to be able to get away from things, and get away from London and chant Hare Krishna sometimes. And Tulsi Rani will help you for that. But in order to facilitate people coming to see her, you may have to help the temple take care of things, If you got any connections with some lawyers or with something like that, figure out how do we get around to it? How do we make it legal? How do we make it proper? How do we make it, like that, and discuss things. There's so many ways to serve her. But the point is that when she captures your mind, you don't forget her day and night. Because she's just like Lord Vishnu in the heart. She's everywhere. If you accepted her as mother, you don't forget her day or night. She just grabs you. She just grabs you and you don't forget her. So it's all part of it. Use your talents, use your abilities to render some service to her. Then you take shelter of her as the Shastra provides, how people did in the past. Took shelter of her, follow in their footsteps. And indeed, another thing about her service is to chant her glories. And I'm getting more and more and more glories of her. Practically by the day, I'm getting more glories of her. And it's wonderful stuff, Learn them, memorize them, just like Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. You like it, learn it. And then offer it to her as a flower. Just like you're offering an incense or a flower or bringing some fruit or milk to the deities or something like that. Learn something new about them and chant it. That is an offering. You're offering your heart. That's an offering. Use your talents. Get to work. Do something practical. And learn the glories. And chant them. This way your heart becomes wedded to Tulsi. You see Tulsi from a new paradigm. Before she was in my flat, but I never knew who she was. Yeah, that's it. Because without that, Sananda Kumar said that, without 50% perspiration and 50% ashraya, you'll never know who she is. Or kya? Anything else? Anything else? You got another one? She's got one.
You said that women need to be protected, but I don't have a feeling that women are enough protected in a sense.
Yeah. They should be. They're protected, but at the same time they need to be protected.
Yeah.
And you're saying that they're not protected enough.
Yeah.
Right. It's a fact.
How can you protect ourselves?
How can you protect others if you're not protected yourself? That was basically what you're saying?
How we as women can protect ourselves in this world and
You gotta be realistic. I have two god sisters in their late age. They married some fellow, who had their infrastructure set up so that they can continue to serve Lord Krishna. My god sister Nidra in Denver, she did so. My god sister Labanga Latika In her middle age, she married a fellow, and then had his infrastructure. And literally, because she's a preacher, she changed the heart of her husband. And doubtless, Nidra's done the same to her husband too. Doubtless. I have no doubts about it. These two Vaishnavis probably did it. If Iskcon socially is not going to be able to take care of the girls are going to have to take care of themselves by getting married to a suitable fellow who takes care of them. And ultimately, Lord Krishna is the ultimate husband. Some girls, they don't. But then there's very few places in this world. Kirtan Ashram and Vrindavan, there's always going to be some place. But then the idea is that though you feel lonely, that no one's protecting me, something. But Krishna's the ultimate husband. Same time, you got to be realistic. Girls are not going to go with another girl on the streets of Braj. You can get attacked, you can get raped, you can get, so many things. Be smart. You don't go in public without a friend next to you. If you're unmarried, you got to go in twos. Preach in twos. Preach in twos. If you're unmarried, you got to go with your friends. Like that. But Krishna is the ultimate husband. It's a fact. Krishna is the ultimate protector. Same time, most girls, they need a husband. They get energy from their husband, and they give energy to their husband. They need it. They need it quite strongly. And I have two older god sisters. They're in their middle age, but they got married. Nidra, she didn't for a long time because she wanted to really serve the temple and serve the deities. But later on in her life, she understood that, I've got to have a husband, to continue my service for Lord Krishna. I've got to have a husband, so she did. When Nidra got married, all the girls in North America waved the red, white flag. End of story. And Nidra got married. We all got to get married. End of story. Nidra got married. We all got to get married. End of story. Nidra was, it's like legendary. Nidra among Vaishnavis in North America is legendary. Now she still goes to the Prabhupada reunion festivals in Los Angeles and stuff. And whenever I visit my village, her temple was my village, when my body was born. So when I go there, you spend an hour with your parents or something like that. But I spend 3 days in the temple, and naturally I'll bump into her, and I'll cross-fade and see how she's doing. And she'll let me know. Nidra is an institution in North America. Like I said, these girls should come and address you. Radha Kund, Devi Shakti, Narayani, Nidra. Along with people like Malati and other people like that, sure. These are Vaishnavis that are very, very shiny, that are present on the planet. And the other ones that are not present on the planet, like Legacy of Love, like Blessed Dead, let these Vaishnavis shower you with their example, how they lived their life and died for Lord Krishna in very exemplary ways. Yeah. So you can get inspiration. But ultimately, like people like Labangalatika, Labangalatika Nidra, they also set an example. Hey, if Iskcon ain't going to take care of us, we ain't going to wait for Iskcon. we're going to do the needful. And in any culture, it means get married. No, we're not asking you to grab any Tom, Dick, or Harry, but, be smart about it. We won't say anything further. Or any other question here? Any other burning question? Some burning questions we can take on email too, like that. Anonymous, sometimes on a piece of paper. We're here for a few more days or something. We'll go into the manor on Monday or something like that. You always got something on the weekend, so we'll be here for a few more days. Yes, Mother?
I want to ask the marriage, how to become free from the false ego?
Huh? By embracing your real ego. How do you get rid of false ego? By embracing your real ego. I'm a servant of Krishna. I'm a servant of the Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavis. I'm a servant, That is the real ego, right? So you get rid of it. But the more you embrace your spiritual ego, then the more your false ego will go to the wayside. Another aspect of destroying your false ego is to worship Gopeshwar Mahadeva. He's in charge of the false ego. And he can open up that parda, that curtain of false ego. In Vrindavan, they worship Gopeshwar Mahadeva to destroy the Deya Abhiman. We want to give up. The men worship Gopeshwar Mahadeva, some people that we want to become manjaris. And some girls worship Gopeshwar Mahadeva that we want to become coward boys. And Gopeshwar Mahadeva will help us. Vrindadevi will also do the same thing. Whatever you want. Jai Kumara Sharan Aloy taught a bunch of Purna Hoy. Whatever you want, you can get it from her. But she's smart. She'll purify your material desires. You may get what you need. Everybody needs a little something materially. Sense gratification is like salt. Prabhupada said everybody needs a little bit. But you have to be realistic about it and follow it. At the same time, so Brenda Devi is very smart. She'll give you exactly what you need as long as you can serve Krishna. As long as you can serve her and help her serve Krishna, then yeah, Brenda Devi will facilitate you. You know, Dauji is Kamapal, the protector of transcendental desire. You want to serve Krishna? Dauji will fix it up. And they're very powerful. He has a potency, it's called Svecha Siddha Shakti. Whatever they desire gets done. We may be chanchal, we may be flickering because of our conditioning, but not Krishna, not Dauji, not Vrindarani. When they make a decision, it's done. And you want to be smart. If you want to get to Lord Vishnu, go through his wife. It's a smart tactic, you know. It's a smart tactic. I always say that. In this material world, you want to get a hold of somebody. They shut their mobile phone off in the evening because they just want to turn off the world. But their wife really doesn't. You want to get a hold of this guy, get a hold of his wife. I'm looking for XYZ. Where the hell is the guy? He's right here. Dude. You want to get a hold of Lord Vishnu? Go through Tulsi Rani. She'll get your foot more in the door. Beyond your dreams. She'll put your foot in the door, but beyond your dreams. You want to get a hold of Lord Vishnu? Go through his wife. Be intelligent about it. All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any other questions that comes to mind? Sometimes when you walk away from seminars, from meetings, hey, I had this question. Hey, email is great. Just throw it at me. Email is great. You know, just throw it at me. You know, I don't mind. And I'll try. Another thing is that Anicca Bhava Sutta Parabharavido. If you ask me a question, I can't answer. You know, because you're a woman. If you ask me a question and it's like, hey, this is beyond my mandate, you know, like that, then I'll throw the football to Narayani, I'll throw it to Devi Shakti, you know, I'll throw it to these Vaishnavis, Malati, I'll throw it to these Vaishnavis. Hey, here's a question from this girl. What should we say to her? You know? We'll throw the football, you know, to them. Here, catch, you know, catch this question, you know, like this. We want to satisfy a devotee. Catch this question. So we'll do that, you know, that's nice. We'll try to serve you in that way. If I can't help you, I have friends that will, that's for sure. Otherwise, pop lagiga. If I can't satisfy your question, then pop lagiga. I'll get sinful reaction. I don't want that. So I'm going to make sure you're satisfied. Your question gets satisfied. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Jai Kanaram. Hey, I got some gifts for you here. I got some garlands. It was when I was in Nanguneri in South India. In South India, Nanguneri is a town of Brahmins. And the agralaya around the temple was full of devotees. And I was staying in one devotee's parents' house. And it was 1994. And I was doing my Giriraj Puja, and they helped me out. Then they took me to the deity. When they took me to the Mula Murti, the big deity in the temple, then I saw these Brahmanis, they were taking prasadam from the deity, and they were putting it in their hair. And I said, Ma, what are you doing? You know, she knew good English. A couple of them knew good English. And they said, these flowers from Narayana will purify our intelligence so we can do our pati dharma really good. And with great relish, they were tying. Says, South Indian girls love to tie flowers on their hair, but these are not ordinary flowers. These are from Narayana. So they'll purify our intelligence so our pati dharma becomes perfectly good. And when they said that, I went, that is remarkable. So whenever I was traveling around the world, I gave it to girls that would say, put it in your hair. Take this garland, put it in your hair, yeah. They're really good. So I got a couple of gifts, types of it. And besides my brother's hair, I have a few more. We'll give them to you. Sometimes they have Tulsi garlands. The Tulsi garlands, you can honor it. If you've got Tulsi, then the garlands, according to Bhagavatam, become complete. Because of Tulsi. Sorry, we've got a few flowers here. Who left overs down here? Oh, glories to these thieves. Steal our hearts, whatever you want, you know. Okay. All right. That kind of round. Okay. Hare Krishna. What is it? Let's see it. Oh, during Abhishek. But they made it into small little ribbons. I don't understand.
Oh, we tie on the...
Oh, like a raki?
Yeah.
This is tied like a raki. You made it up in small bits to pass out to devotees, to tie as rakis or something like that. Spiritualized Raksha Bandhan.
Thank you very much for...
You know, take Indian festivals and make it a good thing. It's a good start. I never had it before, but it's a good idea.
Maharaj, thank you very much for coming and spending your time with us. And please come back to London more times and give us your association and your wonderful programs.
There's a caveat about that. There's a caveat about that. That just like I have a saying about Tulsi Rani saying, if you're ready to be a son, you have to be a child. And child don't flinch for their mother. It's just like Ekadasi. We know that we're not this body. Ekadasi means what are you doing to prove it? You know? You know, like this, like staying up all night, chanting extra rounds, fasting, eating only one meal a day. You know, we're busy, you know, and thinking of Hari, you know, living next to Hari, right? The same way with Tulsi Rani. If you're her child, don't flinch. Pull out your wallet. You know what I mean? It's like that. You follow. That you really want to serve Tulsi Rani? Don't flinch, you know? And I didn't. When I was a kid, I didn't have much money in my pocket. But when I became a servant of Tulsi Devi, when I assisted Pujari, I used any capital I had in my hands to serve her. And she just took very insignificant offering. She just simply took it and just opened up the world of devotional life to me. And I have to be grateful. It's time now, in my middle age, to pay it back. You know? So in the same way, when sadhus and sadhvis come, invite them to come like that and facilitate them to come. Things are not cheap. Tickets are not free, you know. It costs, you know, 700, 800 pounds to get here or something. And facilitate it. Don't just say, we'd like to have Narayani come. You make a committee and make sure she gets here. You know? Facilitate it like that. Make arrangements, you know, make arrangements so that programs are set up so that they go, wow, they got whole things all arranged. That if I agree to come, then they'll set up so many programs for Malati, for Daivi Shakti, for Radha Kund, you know, for these ladies. Somebody's going to arrange it for them, set it up, and help them with their ticket to come. Yeah, why not? You know, get Nirakula, Vaisheshika's wife. Get Vaisheshika to come to his wife. How wonderful would it be to come to London and preach, you know, and then go beyond London? What about the rest of the country? You know, they have to starve. You know, what about the rest of the country? They got to starve. So negotiate with other householders and other people in other communities so that they can all go and preach there too, and give their association that too. There's so many ways to think about it, you know.
Thank you, Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Visrambha Madhava Maharaj.
Jai.